Hi, my name is Kayla, and my argument today would be that Africa should bring back kings. Now, firstly, kings can provide a sense of unity and stability. Kings can promote harmony and togetherness for citizens, and they are to embody the values and aspirations of the people. This will further bring the community a sense of unity. Kings also cause people to unite during times of crisis or conflict. They are able to act as mediators within conflicts between different groups of people and aid in bringing people together by coming up with solutions to issues faced. Secondly, kings can preserve cultural heritage and customs. Kings are deeply rooted in African history. Taking away kings would mean taking away the culture. Kings are important for preserving cultural heritage and customs, which can give citizens a symbol of national identity. Kings can partake in cultural events and festivals that celebrate African culture. They can also encourage younger generations to uphold African traditions such as language spoken, traditional knowledge, medicine, and so much more. They can protect cultural sites that hold historic value as well to preserve the culture. They can simply work to ensure that their traditional practices are being practiced and upheld. Another reason why kings should be brought back to Africa are the fact that they provide leadership and governance. So, traditional monarchies are typically respected and trusted by citizens in African countries. They can help make the best decisions for the community and distribute resources fairly. African kings can consult with their communities and make decisions in the community's best interest. They can also govern effectively by serving as a mediator in times of conflict. Their authority and influence can promote peace within their ruling. They can help the community by investing in local infrastructures to better their community. They can also have traditional courts to ensure justice is served fairly. They can also practice reforestation and water conservation and work with the community to promote for more sustainable practices. Also, kings can bring economic benefits. So, citizens can benefit financially through tourism or cultural events. They can also provide a stable political environment for business. This can bring in more revenue for poor countries. Also, African kings can help build up small businesses for citizens and promote entrepreneurship. They can provide access to financial resources and mentoring and also training opportunities. Monarchies can create more job opportunities for their communities. And also, in rural areas, kings can provide access to financing, training, and resources to help farmers increase their incomes and prevent food insecurity. Last but not least, kings can provide local empowerment. So, traditional kings can empower the community and give their citizens a voice in times of need. They can encourage local decisions making and participation amongst the community overall. This ensures that citizens' concerns will be heard and addressed. African kings can give the community ownership by giving them the opportunity to plan and execute projects. This will allow the community to feel empowered and that they have a say-so in what goes on. Kings can include citizens in civic management by allowing them to know their rights and responsibilities within their local communities.
My name is Lacey Reynolds, and unlike my opponent, I will be on the opposing side, rebuttaling bringing kings back to Africa. I say this to say because it will lead to corruption and abuse of power, and as we know, many African kings were notorious for their cruelty and exploitation of their subjects, which led to widespread of poverty and suffering within the community. My first counterattack would be a lack of accountability within the kings. Kings may not be held accountable for their actions or decisions, and their rule may not be subject to checks and balances, which could lead to abuse of power and corruption. Next, we have inequality. Kings may reinforce social hierarchies and inequalities by privileging their families, friends, or supporters over the rest of the population. This could lead to social tensions and unrest. Our next point of attack is lack of representation. Kings may not represent the diversity of their people or take into account the needs and aspirations of marginalized groups, such as women, minorities, or poor, and children. Next, we have resistance to change. Kings may resist or obstruct social, economic, or political reforms that threaten their power or status quo, which could hinder process and development, lack of democratic participation. Kings may limit or deny citizens' rights to participate in decision-making processes, such as through voting, assembly, or freedom of speech. This could undermine democracy and human rights, which also ties into interference with justice and the justice system. Kings may interfere with the judiciary system, such as pardoning criminals or imposing their own judgments, which could undermine the rule of law and the trust in the justice system between the African community.
Now, this is Kayla Carey with the counter-argument. So, I believe although you can argue that kings have shown abuse of power and corruption in the past, this does not necessarily have to become a reality for the current times. Now, if there are institutional checks and balances put into place, kings will be held accountable if they abuse their power.
And this is Lacey Reynolds again. And although you say there may be checks and balances into place, we still have to bring to fact that in the past there has been a lack of representation, meaning that many of the previous kings did not represent the diversity of their people or take into the account of needs and aspirations of the marginalized groups. How can we believe that they will not do that now, what they did in the past, if they are still using their hierarchy?
Well, for my conclusion, I would like to say it would be beneficial for Africa to bring back kings. There are more pros than cons of doing so, and kings can promote unity, stability, preserve cultural heritage and customs, traditional leadership and governance, economic benefits, and local empowerment. But currently, different countries in Africa face many different struggles that could have been avoided with a strong-headed leader. With kings being in the picture, the community would be stronger and happier overall. Life for the community can become exponentially greater than before.
My question to you is, what makes you believe that African kings will bring a sense of community to Africa rather than splitting sides between the poor and the wealthy?
Well, I would like to say African kings will bring a sense of community because it would be beneficial for their citizens and allow everyone to be better overall. A wise king would know that bringing in a sense of community would make for a smooth ruling. They would not split sides between the poor and wealthy because if they enforce a better education and financial literacy, it would be easier for citizens to build a life for themselves. Also, with the king providing more job opportunities and promoting entrepreneurship, it can aid in preventing this split. Also, Lacey, I would like to ask you a question. What makes you believe that African kings would continue oppressing their community after knowing the history about how it has affected their communities in a negative way in the past?
As I said earlier, the kings were known to use their privilege and their power for hierarchy against the general population in Africa. This is all the statistics that we have to know. So I believe that they will still continue to use their privilege and their hierarchy to promote and benefit themselves, their families, their friends, and their own supporters rather than the general population.
All right, and I believe that will conclude our debate.